Okay, this is another nutrition hero, Dr. William C. Roberts, MD. He is probably the best cardiac pathologist in the world. He was the editor of major journals for many years, and he wrote what is one of the best papers ever written on coronary artery disease. And it's listed here, Quantitative Extent of Atherosclerosis in Major Epicardial Coronary Arteries at Necroscopy from 2018. I recommend if you're interested in coronary artery disease, and this is really a focus on coronary artery disease that I bring him up. And what I do with these nutrition heroes is I'm just trying to show you people who have done something really unique and useful and interesting. Because there's a lot of confusing, bogus information out there, so it's good to know real stuff that's valuable. So if you're interested in coronary artery atherosclerosis, you want to know about William C. Roberts. And in this article, it's fantastic. He shows images of the coronary arteries. He shows endarterectomies of the atherosclerotic plaques taken out of the coronary arteries at open heart surgery. Because in my experience, most people think they dramatically underestimate the severity of their disease. They go, oh, I got one blockage. No, if you got one blockage, that means you've got a lot more atherosclerosis throughout your coronaries. So if you go to his YouTube channel, and there's hardly any views on his videos, like I remember I saw one of his videos about a month ago, there's 12 views on it. And so here's this guy, the best cardiac pathologist in the world, and he's got 12 views on his video on how to save your life, the most important disease. I think that's almost funny. Then there'll be all this nonsense with millions of views. So, and he's also a big proponent that, in his opinion, he thinks that elevated cholesterol is absolutely necessary, that he calls it a sufficient cause for atherosclerosis. In his experience, and he's got tons of experience with coronary artery disease, he feels you're not even going to get it if you don't have elevated cholesterol. I actually think, having looked at it closer and from a wider point of view, you can get coronary artery atherosclerosis for plenty of other reasons. We talked about sickle cell anemia, polyuria, and a whole bunch of other diseases. But he's worth knowing about. He's a bright guy. And so he's got his lectures at his YouTube site. They're about this paper, the ones I've seen. I've seen like 3 of them. So it's repetitive. You only need to watch one of them if you're interested in coronary artery disease. But if you are interested in coronary artery disease, it'll give you a visual macroscopic view. And he also shows images that support atherothrombosis theory. Why is this useful? Because it'll motivate you to want to optimize your dietary lipids and minimize your fat intake, because it's scary what this stuff does. I mean, that's your life. You block up those coronaries, they're only 3 millimeters in diameter. That's it. You die. Okay. So, and then once you know what to do, minimize dietary fat, don't smoke, don't be drinking alcohol, caffeine. It's pretty easy to do. It's a lot better than, being one of these fat, sick people who ages poorly. Okay. So anyways, those are some of the best things to know about them. And what is the most important insights from that paper? That coronary artery disease, when it's moderate or severe, it's never a local isolated problem. It's a diffuse problem throughout all 3 of the coronaries. And it'll give you a sense. Also, atherosclerotic plaques, when you look at them, they just look like a blood clot that gradually turns into scar tissue. And he emphasizes, he'll talk about how it's easy to turn a herbivore into a vasculopath. They easily develop atherosclerosis, as we do, by eating high-fat meals. You just feed them, and he'll talk about feeding them eggs or feeding them saturated fat. That will cause atherosclerosis. He's written that in his papers. He also writes a column, random facts and ideas from elsewhere, and he writes about that in that column. So you will see that. Versus in a carnivore, you're not going to be able to induce atherosclerosis. So anyways, that's why I made him a nutrition hero, because his emphasis on dietary reduction of lipid to prevent atherosclerosis.